this Friday.
What do we do?
So I just got back from seeing A Quiet Place Day 1, and let me just start off by saying this. Joseph Quinn did an amazing job as an actor. Like, I almost forgot that it was him in this. You can really see all of his emotions. You can really feel his fear. He did an amazing job. Secondly, Lupita, like a completely different person, her as well. Like, she really proves that she can star in any kind of movie, and you can't even, like, one, you can't tell it's her. And then two, she just does an amazing job. Like, these two, fantastic job. Like, honestly, really good job. Secondly, as you can tell, I'm wearing glasses this time, for two reasons. One, I already started recording with the glasses on and I'm too lazy to restart it. And then two, I don't know, I feel like changing it up a little bit. So let's get into this movie. A Quiet Place Day 1 is the third installment of this series. And I'll be honest with you, the movie as its own is a good movie. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it. I thought it was a much needed film if it had came out earlier. Don't get me wrong, it's still a really great film, but I wish that this was the second movie in the series and then we got the second movie as the third movie. Things would have made a lot more sense. I'm not saying that the movie is bad. It's just that this movie kind of felt pointless because, yeah, some characters make some cameos. A character makes a cameo, and then you have some stuff setting up for some other things. But it's like, it feels like the same exact movie. Like, nothing really progresses. And my main reason of saying that this should have been the second movie is because, this is the day of the fall. Like, this is day 0. Why is it called day 1? This is like the day of the fall of the creatures. So it's like, when we first saw the first movie, everyone was like, oh, I want to see how things were on the very first day, because in the first movie, you see how they come here and then they do a time skip and then it's like everyone's living normally. Well, not normal, but everyone already has this thing of like, oh, you got to be quiet to go forward and then you got to sneak past these things. You already know this stuff. And we're all like, we want to see what happened on that day because it has to be crazy. And it was, it was really interesting to see these people having to adapt to this because, obviously at first they don't know that they can't see. And so people are just screaming, going crazy, running around all over the place. And if they hadn't known beforehand that it was, that they couldn't see anything, it would have been different. But seeing this day 1 is like, wow, everything was crazy at the very first day. So there's a lot of action and there's a lot of sequences in this movie. And, I have to give another applaud to another character in this movie, and that's the cat. Because this cat did some great stuff, but the cat also got on my nerves. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm in any kind of like apocalypse or any kind of like end of the world type stuff, pets and babies, you gotta go. But like I was saying, you don't really see anything different except for like some small things that I don't want to get into, but it doesn't really change anything. It's just like, hey, look at this. All right, moving on to the next thing. And so because this is day 1, there are certain things that are happening that is going to piss you off, but it's like us as an audience, we know that you're not supposed to do this, but obviously they don't because this is just not happening. And it's just like, again, I'm saying like this movie just kind of felt pointless. It really did. It's like they were supposed to release this movie second, and then something ended up happening, maybe it's like conflict, and then they decided to release this later on. Again, I need to emphasize, I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I just think that the release of this was a bad time. But you really get to see like a big swarm of these things together, and that's really cool because like, it's the first day, so they're all landing, and then you have these swarms of these things rolling across the city of New York, and it's awesome. You get to see them like, picking people off, people making dumb decisions, which is causing other people to die, and it's like really cool. The one thing that this movie really does that I think is amazing is that they really show you how people go out of their way to help other people. In this movie, Joseph Quinn's character doesn't really know Lupita's character that well, but he goes out of his way to help her out. He doesn't really explain why, but he's just like doing this out of the kindness of his heart. And it's really nice to see. It's a really nice touch because, You know, we have characters who are doing things for certain reasons, and then it's just like, oh, this person's just taking advantage of this person. But that's not what's happening in this movie. And I really like that because he's just doing a kind act for this person. And I'll be honest with you, without me saying what the plot of this movie is, you're never gonna guess it. And if they showed it in the trailer, I bet you people would not go and see this movie. Because that is the one thing that killed this movie for me, was when you watch the movie and you find out why, you know, Lupita's character was doing what she's doing, you're like, oh, are you serious? But then you have to really stop and think. If you're going through this situation, if you're like, put yourself in her shoes, you know, in this movie, I can't remember if they show it in the trailers, but you know, she's dying, you know? So she has this goal that she wants to do, and then that's the entire movie. And Joseph Quinn's character is trying to help her do this. Why? He just wants to help her out, you know? It's the end of the world. So like, why not do some last good acts for people? And I think it's really nice because you don't really see that in the real world. So it was nice for them to include this into this movie and make that like a big part of this. But like I said, man, these pets during these apocalypses, you gotta let them go. Pets and babies, you gotta let them go. Another thing is that some characters are forced to make some decisions that, I mean, you just gotta do, you know? So you start to really feel for them in those moments and like, oh, like this person had to make this decision, but they did it for the greater good. And it's like, even though it's a bad decision, they had to do it. So it's like, you know, it's one of those things. I don't know, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. And I do think that people should go see this movie if, you know, there's like nothing else to go out and watch in the theaters. But keep in mind, you know, realistically, it doesn't really change anything for the story. It's just another movie to watch, basically. Another movie in the A Quiet Place universe. So I would say go watch it. Great movie, fantastic acting, really nice shots, like some really good shots. You can really like tell that they put their heart into this movie. And also in this movie, they did a really good job of putting you in these situations where you're fearing for the characters. You're like, are they gonna make it? Like, you know, stop making noise, or like try to be a bit more quieter. It's like situations like that. But I think that they always do that in these movies because, I mean, that's kind of the point of these movies. There's like that sense of fear of if you're making noise, something's gonna happen and you're gonna like endanger other people. So I really did like that touch in this movie. But you know, those are just my general thoughts of this movie. And like I said, I enjoyed it, so you know, go check it out. Well guys, what did you think? Did you end up going to see the movie? Do you plan to go see the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, please, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to the channel. And please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified each time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Somewhere if you take me on a